Okay, so it's a 3-day weekend, and was it, like a week or so ago, all of a sudden, of course, as usual, the gas prices go skyrocketing, and and it was funny because Adam said, "Why all of a sudden?" And then I reminded him that his kids are let out for summer right before Memorial Day. So Friday, they got out, early for the summer. I mean, that was it. The early that day, summertime for the whole summer, and then Monday is a holiday, Memorial Day. Yeah, and that's the first thing that happens. The greedy stuff that happens during the holidays. When people are traveling and such like that. That's one of the big first ones. The price of, and the price of hotels goes up. Now this is not all, of course, but the price of hotels tend to go up. And I've even asked them before, I said, why is it so expensive now? And it wasn't this, and I wasn't even thinking about a holiday at one. And the woman told me that it was holiday. I said, so? And she said, we can get it. So we do. Price gouging. And I don't care what they want to say, but no, it's price gouging. And I don't play those word games and, we're going to do this and that and say, it used to be there was shame for businesses. And of course, some of the businesses, like the whole thing with the gas, they say, that's just, people would say, you just have a conspiracy theory. And now it's more like a social norm. It's not, nobody likes it. I mean, I don't know anybody says, yay, they're raising our prices of gases because it's a holiday and people are traveling, except for people who are benefiting off of it. So it's there. We know it. We know it's going to happen. And not long after the holiday, it'll go down, and they'll say, that's because of, some politician, and we'll get some credit for it. They got the, whatever politician it is at that time. It's just such a game. And like I said, the whole thing with the hotel rooms, and then those are mainly the two main ones that I know of. Well, there's also, I don't know if airplanes, they charge more during holiday seasons. I don't know. I really don't know if they do or not. But I have noticed this sense of entitlement. Is the businesses have it, but so do people around the holidays. I mean, how many lately? I've seen so many people, and it keeps coming up, because once you watch one, next thing you know, a video on a topic and you like it, you click the thumbs up. Next thing you know, you got a whole bunch of them coming in, and this is about people on airplanes. I've seen so many, even cartoonish ones, about people on airplanes. They people they pay for their ticket, they buy a certain ticket, and they want a window seat, or they want an inside seat. They don't want that. They don't want to sit in the middle. They, like one of them, man was tall, so he wanted nobody in the seat in front of him, so he could spread his leg, straighten his legs out, and feel comfortable. So things like this, and people pay to have the seating they want. Some people sit in the front, some people sit in the back. Inside, outside, whatever. Not outside the plane, but you know what I'm saying. And then there's somebody who comes in and says something like, I want to sit next to my friend. Can you switch for us? Or, my child wants the window units, the window seat, so she can look outside. And, they didn't pay for that. They want something they didn't pay for, or they want one person they pay to sit in business class, and one person they want the nicer seats. So they want the person that paid for it to switch with them, and they throw temper tantrums because they're not getting it, what they want. They're demanding that the person switch. At some point, they get to that point where they're demanding, you switch. What's wrong with you? We're a family. We want to sit together. And the person who paid for it says, why didn't you order it that way? Why didn't you pay for it? I would not justify why I'm not giving up my seat. Too bad. I paid for it. It's mine. Period. Full stop. But people have a sense of entitlement that they're entitled for somebody to switch for them. And they're entitled to ask what's your reasoning, and entitled to tell you you're wrong when you paid for a seat. But it's still open for them to take your seat. You see what I'm saying? And then that person should give it to them. High sense of entitlement these days is just so strong. I see it in a lot of things lately. When I first started making videos on, about narcissism and histrionic behaviors and so forth, it was like, 11 years ago, somewhere around there. And I was writing about it before that, writing online about these topics. And the one thing that I even had trouble with was how you look at the sense of entitlement, how you look at just the word, just the meaning of the word entitlement. And for some is kind of confusing, like for some people, boundaries. The whole concept of setting boundaries is difficult. They don't fully understand it. And I can understand why people don't always fully understand words, seriously. The meaning behind, like I said, boundaries or entitlement. Because some of it is just, for some it's just, who would not know that, you pay for a ticket, you don't ask someone to give them, their seat because their seat is better for you. Some people would say, what nerve? Who taught them that they had some entitlement to have somebody else's seat that paid more for it? It's just beyond belief. So, yeah, but I've seen it in so many things, more and more these days. People that have this sense of entitlement, like, the people who, like some people who do stuff that's wrong. Okay, like when they're driving or whatever, and they do something that is wrong, but, somebody was out, they're doing deliveries. I see a lot of this in deliveries. Delivery videos, people delivering food or groceries or restaurant or takeout, whatever. And say the person is speeding in a 30 doing 50 here in Texas. I read up on that, looked it up, and it's a $500 ticket, and that's before court cost. Going 50 in a 30, like in a neighborhood. And man, the people around here, they go speeding out there, and they need to set up a what do they call it, a something trap, police trap, ticket trap, whatever it's called. Man, they'd make a fortune. There's one road, it's 30 miles per hour. There's a park right there, and it's the other side of it, and right there is an elementary school. You wouldn't believe how people fly past the elementary school while kids are at school. They got out of school yesterday, but anyway, for the summer, it's just unbelievable, the sense of entitlement. But say that person who's doing that delivery, and they go speeding through a neighborhood because they need to go pick something up, or somebody up, or they're late and they need to get to their next order, or whatever it is. They justify it in their minds that, well, they have to do this, so they go speeding, And then they get a ticket, a big ticket. And so they get online, and they're known for, whining and having, people can donate money to them, and they do their sob story, fraud, fraud is fraud. They say, oh, I don't have enough money for groceries, I don't have enough money for this, that, the other, my kids are going to starve. Whatever they use their kids, it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them, as long as they're getting money. That's how they see it, as long as they're getting paid. And they feel it's paid, that they earned it. They earned what they're begging for by begging. Okay. And but some of them, they go in to get a ticket because they were driving too fast and got a ticket, and of course they blame the police officer. Oh, well. The police officer, this, police. They don't want to take accountability. There's another word some people have trouble with. Understanding accountability. They don't want to say, hey, it's my fault and I deserve that ticket. No. But then they get online and make a video and tell their audience and say, now I don't have money for groceries. So the audience will pay for them, to go buy groceries. Well, the audience is paying for their ticket. What they're doing is paying for their ticket. And they learn that they have that sense of, they're entitled to their audience to send them money. Some of them will just flat out say it. If you want to continue watching my videos, then you need to pay. Really, some of them that will say it. I remember the first time I actually heard a man say, if you want to continue watching my videos, you need to send me money so I can buy the appropriate, camera and all this. And I'm like, really? You need all that? Since when? Cell phone makes videos these days. Woo! And they have for a long time. Woo! But no, you gotta mute. They need the whole setup. They need the room and all fixed up and everything. And they expect their audience to pay. Because they're so wonderful. And that person that I saw do that, he was full of BS. I think he still makes videos. Full of BS. Oh man, he did not know at all what he was talking about. At all. I was a career student in that field, one of my fields. Okay, so undergraduate and graduate at university. No, he was wrong. Oh man, so, whew. But they're entitled. That's another part of their entitlement, is because they think that they're there, that they're up there with other people who actually went to university, then therefore they are. They're entitled to be treated the same way. No, you're not. Period. Full stop. And on that note,